Hey, did you know that 95% of the books that are published sell less than 1,000 copies? Isn't that crazy? Well, today I want to walk you through why all three pillars of writing, publishing, and marketing your book are important. And if you miss even one of them, it could screw up your sales for the lifetime of your book. So let's dive deep in. So I'm Melanie Johnson. I'm one of the owners of Elite Online Publishing, and I've been publishing books, gosh, for almost 10 years now. It's a long time, and published over 3,000 books, and we make all of our authors bestsellers, and we work on making them award winning. So, anyways, let's dive deep into some writing tips. What are some of the keys should think about when you're writing your book? Number one is, what topic do you want to write about that you're super passionate about, that you have an expertise on? So let's focus more on nonfiction books. A lot of authors come to us and it's their story. Gosh, I've had such a great personal story, but some of you also have great business expertise. So it's marrying those two things together that is going to serve you the best in writing about it. And think about it. What do you want your platform to be? What do you want to be known for your credibility that you can turn it into something? So we had an author the other day. She was working on two books. One was a children's book. One was a young teen book. Both books were almost done, and she's like, "Well, maybe I should just start with the children's book. I think I can get it done faster." But then we asked her, "Well, what do you want to do with the children's book? How are you going to use that as a platform? How are you going to build on that?" She says, "Well, really, it's just a one-off book. I'm just going to write this one children's book, and then that's it. But then the young teen book, I have plans to do a series on, and I can build on that." So that's what I would call is the money book. The money book is something you can build your platform on, you can build a business on, you can expand either the books that you're writing about, or it helps you expand your business and attract your ideal client and your ideal audience. Even for children's books, we have a children's book author who has developed, her name is Ekaterina, has developed workbooks and a curriculum to go with her children's books to sell to schools and to teachers and to expand her audience and use it as a bigger business tool besides just selling books. So keep that in mind when you are going to write your book, what you're going to write it about. Books should only be 150 to 200, maybe 250 pages tops. So people don't want to read 400 pages today or 300 pages when it comes to a nonfiction book. Fiction books can be longer, but really you want to keep it short. You want to have it formatted so there's bullet points in there. People can get through it and they can read it on an airplane ride either to a place or on the way back. So that's today's trend is shorter books, not longer books. Again, the pocket is 150 words to or 150 pages to 200 pages is really key. And then inside the book, make sure you're adding generation to for leads, that you're putting calls to action in your book. So remember to make sure that your book is something that you're passionate about, something you can grow your platform about. So those are kind of my writing tips. Someone had me reteach them our 10 by 10 by 3, which if you're stuck, think about the 10 questions people ask you all the time, or the should ask questions. If they knew what you knew, what should they be asking you about? So that's kind of for you to get out of writer's block to start thinking about those frequently asked questions that you have. All right, let's move on to publishing. Gosh, I should do a whole 10 minutes, 20 minutes just on publishing, but I'm trying to do all three things in this quick video. So publishing, how do you choose a publisher? So again, we had a conversation the other day on author dreaming about having a traditional publisher publish her book. So the number one question that I ask the authors is, how big is your social media following? How big is your audience? How big is your email list? If you don't have a million plus or hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are in your audience, then a traditional publisher is not going to be interested in you. They want someone that they know can sell books and can sell books year after year because they're going to give you a chunk of money up front. And they want to know that 5 years from now, people are still going to be buying your book, that they're going to get their money back that they've given you. The other myth is that they think getting a traditional publishing deal is going to offer them a lot of marketing. Well, I have to tell you, it doesn't. They give you very little marketing. You're lucky if you get some Amazon book ads out of the deal. You're going to have to hire a PR company. They do not get you media gigs, podcast gigs, get you on Good Morning America or the Today Show or the Joe Rogan Show. That does not happen. So you're going to have to come out of pocket to pay a PR agency to do that for you or a podcast booking agency to do that for you. Do they do social media for you? No. Do they create social media posts for you? No. But us at Elite Online Publishing, we have all those capabilities. We do that for our authors. We give you social media posts that are ready to go. And we make sure that you're aligned and you can have these resources. So make sure you know that what traditional publishing is. And not that I want to kill your dreams, but I just want to tell you that's where you have to be able to get a traditional publishing deal. Now let's dive into what are the other options for you? Well, you can do it yourself, right? You can research a lot of ways to do it, or you can pay someone like our company, Elite Online Publishing, to do it for you. Be careful when you're getting into the publishing field. It's kind of dicey these days, right? So there's people that are trying to take your money. They put up their shingle to publish books maybe a few months ago. Maybe they published their own book, but they didn't do a great job at it. And they're saying, hey, I can publish your book. And then you come to find out you don't have an Amazon author page. You don't have A+ content. Your book description isn't right. The keywords aren't right. The categories aren't right. And you're wondering why your book isn't selling or getting anywhere and you didn't have a book launch strategy for it. So the other key thing is to make sure you are getting all the royalties, not them. The royalty check should come right into your bank account. So when you're interviewing publishing companies, say, where does my royalty check come every month? Does it come from you or does it come right from Amazon or Ingram? So that's really super, super important that you make sure the book is published under your account and your bank account is connected to the royalties. So those are some things to really look for. The other thing is make sure your publishing company has testimonials. They've worked with authors before. They've had success. They've made their books bestsellers. We have publishing companies that come to us and we launch books for them to make them bestsellers. We are like the added ticket on top of that. We do full publishing, but then we'll also come alongside another publisher and make them bestsellers. So that's when you're choosing a publisher. So if you're going to do it yourself, one way to think, these are things you should look at anyway. So I mentioned earlier, make sure you have an Amazon author page. You can connect this through KDP. We do all of this for you. Make sure you have A+ content. This is beautiful pictures that you're going to have on your landing page, on the Amazon landing page. So make sure you're doing all of those things, researching all of the categories, researching all the metadata and putting it in there. And make sure the publishing company you choose does that. And what is their process in doing that? How do they do all that stuff? So you want to be really careful when you're picking that publishing company. Now, publishing companies that are going to self-publish for you are going to charge you for their services, right? Because it's like having a builder build your house. You're not building it or remodeling your house. You're paying the builder to come in with all of their contractors to build your beautiful home, and then you live in it. So you just want to make sure you are comparing prices, comparing services and value that you're getting. And you want to work with people that you really enjoy working with. We like working with people who are positive, action takers, and, are a joy to be around because that's how we feel that we are. And that's what we want to bring when you work with us, is having that joyful feeling when you're getting your book done, because it's an exciting thing. I mean, when you take it down, imagining yourself holding your book in your hand, being a best-selling author, and what that's going to do for you and your career and open up so many new doors for you. So that's kind of in the publishing part. There's a lot of making the sausage, so to speak, that goes into doing a book. And I always say either you're trading time for money or money for time. So if you don't have enough to invest to do it yourself, then you're going to have to invest thousands of hours and money and time to learn to do it yourself. Or you can pay somebody to do it and know that it's done right. So you just have to decide where you are in your journey. We have a course for authors that want to do it themselves that you can look up, our Book Writing Fast Pass, and that teaches you pretty much what we know that you can get and do it yourself. All right, now let's get into the exciting part that I know a lot of authors like to talk about, which is book marketing. All right, book marketing covers so many different things, from the book launch to continuing to promote your book to getting, book sales, social media, podcast. Oh my gosh, it just goes on. So I'm only going to pick a couple things. I'm going to give you just a few tips here. So the number one tip is, when you are writing a book, when should you start promoting your book and talking about your book on social media, in emails to people, in a newsletter to people, the day you start thinking about it? Because if you do that, number one, You're going to get people to know that you have it, and it's going to be instant accountability. Oh my gosh, I put it out to the public. I better get after this. And then number two, people are going to be like, wow, you're writing a book. They're curious. They're going to want to be a part of your journey. And you should take them along your journey. Oh, guess what? Today I got my book cover. Let me share it with you. Oh, I got my book formatted today. I'm struggling with my first chapter. So you take them on the journey with you, ask them questions to participate, maybe even get their opinion on your different book covers. So this is the way to start building your audience from day one, because we have authors that come to us that don't have any audience. And so this is how you start to build it. So by the time your book comes out, you already have some people that are interested and excited. I tell it this way, there's authors like, oh, I don't want to brag about my book, right? I don't want to say it doesn't seem like I'm humble. I want to be humble. I don't want to like, oh, I've got a book out. So I want you to think about this two ways. One is if someone asks you for their help, hey, could you help me cross the street or bring my groceries in or do something, you'd be happy to help them. Your book is helping others. It's not about you bragging about yourself. It's about having a book that's going to help somebody else improve their life. So it's a gift to the world and to the universe that someone may get a spark. I had my book bought by someone who was in a Japanese prison, who was an American citizen, who had said it gave them hope that they wanted to write their story while they were there and took them from depressed to happiness and having a purpose to write their book. Who would have known someone in a Japanese prison would get my book? Oh my gosh. So you just don't know who you're going to help with your message and your story and your knowledge, number one. So get out of your head. It's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's about helping someone else. The other thing is, why promote it ahead of time? Well, think about it. Let's say you were having a baby. Well, if you're a guy, maybe you weren't having a baby, but your wife was having a baby, and you didn't tell anyone. And then all of a sudden you said, we have a baby. They'd be like, what the heck? I didn't even know you were pregnant, right? So you want to tell people you're pregnant with a book. You want to let them know ahead of time, we're excited, we're expecting a baby. I'm expecting a book. It's going to be coming out soon. So you want to let people know, and people who love you already and are friends already or are following you already want to join you in that journey. Bethany Frankel, I love watching her on TikTok. She does this journey where she was dating someone and she was coming back and telling about each of her dates. And now she's finally dating someone serious. But it was so fun to see her journey and what was next. Gosh, what's the next part? And you never know who you might inspire by telling them that you're writing a book. It might inspire them to write their book too. So that's some of my marketing tips, just kind of focusing more on the launch. But start your social media right away, start gaining a following right away, start talking about your book right away. The other tip is never stop. Once you do that, you've created a business. Your book lasts forever. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you can still post quotes from your book. You can still post about your book. You can still tell people to buy your book because you never know when your audience is going. You have tons of content there that you can repurpose over and over again. Remember, if you had a plumbing service, you'd be like, well, had my plumbing service. I told them about it for a year and now I'm not going to tell anybody anymore. How are you going to get more business? You have to constantly tell people about your books to get your audience larger and increase that. Sorry, lost my words there for a second. So anyways, that's it for today. If you're looking to get your book published, reach out to us at Elite Online Publishing. We'll see if we're a good fit. We're looking for people who are action takers, entrepreneurs, CEOs, someone who has a message that's inspirational, motivational, or educational and fun to work with. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.